Hi, in this video you're going to learn about equivalences of two statements, which means we're going to find the statement and its contrapositive, converse, and inverse. And we're going to find out what is the contrapositive of inverse, what is its equivalent statement, or what is the contrapositive of converse, or even what is the converse of inverse. So I have here, if it is a hexagon, then it is a polygon of 6 sides. So let's get first the converse, inverse, and contrapositive. So this is now the hypothesis and that's the conclusion. So let's have that conditional statement. This is if P, then Q. P means the hypothesis and Q means the conclusion. So here, if P, then Q. So if it is a hexagon, then it is a polygon of 6 sides. The converse of this is simply we're going to flip the conclusion and the hypothesis. So it becomes if Q, then P. Okay, so if it is a polygon of 6 sides, then it is a hexagon. While the inverse is simply the negation of conditional statement. It means if it's not a hexagon, then it is not a polygon of 6 sides. And the contrapositive is simply the negation of converse. If not Q, then not P. So if it's not a polygon of 6 sides, then it is not a hexagon. Okay, now, so I'm going to put it here so you can easily compare the statement that we able to get using the questions here. So now, what is the converse of inverse? Okay, so we are asked to give the converse of inverse. So the inverse is this one. So it means this is now the original statement. If it is not a hexagon, then it is not a polygon. So we're going to get the converse of this statement of the inverse. So when we say converse, we're just going to flip the hypothesis and conclusion, which means this becomes the hypothesis and this becomes the conclusion, which means that the converse now is if it is not a polygon of 6 sides, then it is not a hexagon. Okay, so if it is not a polygon of 6 sides, then it is not a hexagon. Now, can you find a statement similar to this here? If it is not a polygon of 6 sides, so where it is? Okay, this one, the converse of inverse is the same as the contrapositive. If it's not a polygon of 6 sides, then it is not a hexagon. Which means that the converse of inverse is the contrapositive. Okay? So you notice here, converse of inverse. This, and the answer is contrapositive. Okay, so it means we mentioned converse and we mentioned inverse. So what is not being mentioned here is the contrapositive. That's the answer. Let's check if it's still true to the next example. Okay, so same conditional statement we're going to use. But this time we're going to get the what is the converse of contrapositive. So the contrapositive is this one. And the converse is simply we're going to flip the conclusion and hypothesis, which means this becomes the hypothesis and this becomes the conclusion. So if it is not a hexagon, then it is not a polygon of 6 sides because you are getting the converse of contrapositive. So this is the statement. If it is not a hexagon, then it is not a polygon of 6 sides. Okay, again, try to find the similar or the same statement here. And that is the inverse. Okay? So the answer there, the equivalent statement of the converse of contrapositive is inverse. If it is not a hexagon, then it is not a polygon of 6 sides. So again, we mentioned converse, contrapositive, the answer is inverse. Let's have another one. What about what is the inverse of contrapositive? So contrapositive, this is our statement now. We're going to get the inverse. So when we say inverse, simply, we are just going to negate this one. Okay? Now, look at this one. Contrapositive is already negative. If it is not a polygon of 6 sides, then it is not a hexagon. But the inverse is getting again the negation. So if it's already a negative and we are going to get the negation, it becomes positive. It means it's no longer negative here. This not is no longer there. And therefore, the negation of a negative becomes the positive. Which means that the statement now is we are just going to eliminate this word not here. So if it is a polygon of 6 sides, then it is a hexagon. That would be the statement. If it is a polygon of 6 sides, then it is a hexagon. Okay? So inverse of contrapositive. So this is the contrapositive. Again, it means this is the original statement, and we are just going to negate this original statement. That is the inverse. So if it's not P, then not Q. And since this is already negation, it means to get the negation of a negative, it becomes positive. And that is equivalent to what? Converse. If it is a polygon of 6 sides, then it is a hexagon. So again, inverse, contrapositive, the answer is converse. Okay, can you see the pattern here? So, it means the answer or the equivalent statement is the statement that is not being mentioned here. So, inverse, contrapositive, answer is converse. A while ago, we mentioned converse and contrapositive. The answer is inverse. Okay? So now, what is the converse of inverse? Let's summarize this. Simply the statement, what is the converse of inverse? The answer there is contrapositive statement. What is the converse of contrapositive? The answer there is the inverse statement. What is the inverse of contrapositive? The answer there is converse statement. What is the inverse of converse? Simply the contrapositive statement. And what is the contrapositive of converse? And that is inverse. And what is the contrapositive on inverse? That is the converse statement. So these are the equivalent or the statements that are equivalent. Okay? So that's all for this video, and thank you for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share my video, and like if you like it. Bye!